Michael Rosa here, and I'm continuing on in Blackwood. I'm at the Zenithar Abbey, and I just saw a Minota up there, so I think it's overrun by Minotas. So Zenithar Abbey is one of the public dungeons. So let's talk to this guy, find out what's going on.
Oh, perhaps this bazaar isn't so empty after all. It's hard to imagine, but that abbey was once a thriving bazaar, bustling with commerce and teeming with people. Nothing left but rot and overgrowth, and an abundance of dangerous beasts. Well, there is one thing that I hope remains from that time.
What's that?
The Golden Anvil that once graced Zenithar's Abbey when it was still a place of wealth and commerce. It is a holy relic that was stolen and hidden away by avarice. I hope to learn its true whereabouts for the resolutes of Zenithar, my order.
Have you had any luck?
I did not expect quite so many deadly creatures nesting in the Abbey when I set out. Otherwise, I would have enlisted fighters before departing. Priests of Zenithar are not known for their might, but we have deep pockets. Are you for hire?
I am. I'll help you find the Golden Anvil.
The Golden Anvil was hidden away by the bazaar's arbitrator, Gavos Duar. We should search the Abbey and learn all we can from Gavos's fall. It may lead us to the Anvil's ultimate resting place.
Ooh. So tell me more about this Golden Anvil we are searching for.
The Golden Anvil was said to have once been unremarkable iron, worked tirelessly by a pious smith to build a simple trading post. Zenithar transformed the anvil to gold, blessed with divine prosperity for that honest labor. And the Abbey was born.
You think a treasure like that was left here?
Most likely. It's well known that Gavos hid the anvil away before he was overthrown, but nothing seemed to indicate that it was removed from the Abbey. With Zenithar's grace and some hard work, perhaps we'll have better luck finding it.
I want to know more about this Gavos.
You are not familiar with the resolutes of Zenithar? We are keepers of the resolutions, the temples of the divine provider. We offer succor and instruction to those who provide honest labor or wealth. Those who follow our teachings prosper.
What are Zenithar's teachings?
The foundations of civilization and prosperity, labor, commerce, and exchange. Zenithar smiles upon those who work for themselves and others. Through fair and honest trade, we better the world. The teachings show how best to conduct business.
Huh. I don't know much about the divines myself, so this is interesting. What else do you know about this place?
As I've said, the Abbey was once a great bazaar, but that alone didn't make it special. Here, people of all kinds exchanged not just objects, but ideas, pieces of their culture. They saw the foreign as something to be valued. Sadly, it didn't last.
Sounds like good times. Good cultural place. So what happened?
Those who valued coin more than commerce infested it, until their greed utterly corrupted Zenithar's Abbey. Gavos Duar and his ilk destroyed this wonderful place with their avarice. Not even the anvil was enough for him, it seems.
Yep, greed. So who was Gavos Duar?
As arbitrator of the bazaar, he was responsible for the peacekeeping forces. Gavos and his soldiers were the only ones permitted to be armed, in the interest of preventing violent disputes. It didn't take long for him to abuse that power.
Yeah, so what happened to him?
The rumors claimed that he used his office to enrich himself and drove this place to ruin through tax, tariff, and embezzlement. Gavos was overthrown eventually, but the anvil was never recovered, and neither was the prosperity it provided.
Well, we'll find out. It's a shame this place fell. Interesting to see what it's like inside. Sadly, greed affects most people. Not all, but most. Huh.
The history of this abbey and its fall into ruin remain clouded in mystery. All I know for certain is that the Golden Anvil was never recovered. We should search for surviving records from Gavos' time. Some trail to follow, however waterlogged.
Any thoughts on where we might find clues?
The bazaar, of course. But this abbey also had a thriving port. And despite its size, if you wish to conduct business in secret, like plot to overthrow a tyrant, you would need to do it somewhere secluded, like the outer grounds.
And is this something you know, personally? So, oh, this place is huge. Oh yeah, outer grounds.
So much rot and squalor. Will any record of Gavos or the Anvil have survived?
Yeah, even though it's...
Some of the buildings and stalls seem intact. Let's start there.
Even though it's been abandoned, it still looks nice in a way. Would have been even more nice to see it in its prime. So... yeah, it's big abbey. And there's goblins. So, we'll go this way. Yeah, I would have liked to see this place in its prime. So instead of fighting an enemy, I might stealth through, searching for clues. Patterned trader's log. Caravan of Argonians came through today. Managed to haggle for several jars of strange tree sap. His sap might have a fair profit if Arbiter Gavos doesn't come up with yet another insane rule to strangle free trade. I pray to Zenithar he'll spare me a droning lecture on why tree fluids can't be traded within the bazaar. Must be nice living on the fat of the land without having to do any real work yourself. It's us merchants keeping the goods and gold flowing here. Obstructing trade is bad enough, but I heard he's barred anyone from seeing the Golden Anvil. Standing between us and the divine is a bridge too far. I won't stand for it, and I'm not alone.
That confirms that Gavos stole the Golden Anvil away. But where?
Hid it somewhere, I guess. Because of his actions, the people rioted. Bazaar Directory. Clothier Specialty Clothier. Relics by Ralos. Ancient and magical wares. Sands of Elsewhere. Kazuchi Dry Goods. Magister Quentin's Menagerie. Dumazog's Metalworks. Exalted Estiers. Chemical Regents of Flora. Yeah, it would have been something to see if didn't. Ooh. Drive this place to the ground. Ghosts.
Give it to me! Give it all to me!
Oh, you're dead. That?
You pay when I tell you to pay.
No. Seems like he's still living in the past.
Teach them a lesson about paying their tithes.
I just taught you a lesson. Last skeletal visage. That's interesting. Wonder what lead that is. Must be for one of the new armor items you can get. So I don't have to go that way. Gone the wrong way. But yeah, that arbiter must have been like a sheriff, getting people to pay their taxes unlawfully. The trade port. Oh, there's bug dogs. That must be a lighthouse. I've got to go up there. Trolls here as well. Lovingly written note. What's happening, my dear? The soldiers have turned on Arbiter Gavos. I heard he's locked himself in the Abbey's adytum, so the trade ministers are going to magically seal him inside. The irony is delicious. They've done a great service to us making all of this happen. Our baby will be able to grow up in a free city where the citizens decide how to conduct their affairs. Not some armed warlord declaring edicts from on high. What do you say we name him after one of our liberators? Raylos, SD, or Quentin? Which trade minister do you like most? We can discuss once you return from your father's.
These merchant lords may be the last people to see Gavos alive, but did they find the anvil?
So, is Gallus still trapped wherever? And yeah, once they removed him, why did this place fall into ruin? I've got to go back inside. Oh, look at that. The goblin up there. So I have to search for the third clue.
The history of this abbey and its fall into ruin remain clouded in mystery. All I know for certain is that the Golden Anvil was never recovered. We should search for surviving records from Gavos' time. Some trail to follow, however waterlogged.
Well, the last clue we found, the people were hopeful that once Gavos was sealed and trapped, this place would flourish again, but they were wrong. So what's this? The grounds? Goblins fighting trolls. There should be another clue up here. Get this chest first. Rebels' faded letter. Things will move quickly soon. There's a plan to liberate the Abbey from that tyrannical Arbiter Gavos. I spoke to his soldiers and learned they're not so different from the rest of us, just trying to earn a living and provide for their families. They don't like what their boss has been doing either, and they're willing to help the people stop it. Then on our side we can topple the Arbiter without a fight. The trade ministers plan to imprison Arbiter Gavos if he refuses to yield his power. They've already hired mages to fashion a magic seal made of 3 sigils, one for each of the trade ministers. All 3 of them would have to agree to release him, so you can pretty much guarantee the bastard will never see the light of day again. Meet me at the usual place tonight and explain our plans for what happens after.
Gavos must not have been popular if even his own soldiers turned on him.
So maybe he's still sealed and alive.
Let me see those documents for a moment. These confirm that Arbitrator Gavos hid the anvil, but not where. There was a rebellion led by the trade ministers that even Gavos' guards sided with, and he locked himself in the Abbey's adytum.
Do you think that's where he kept the anvil?
I think that's very likely. An adytum is a sacred place within a temple. Only the clergy are permitted within. It would have been within the arbitrator's authority to keep it locked and guarded, even from the trade ministers. His personal sanctuary.
I mean, they went to all that effort to trap him. Why didn't they just kill him instead? And when he wouldn't surrender, they sealed him in.
So it would seem. If the adytum remains sealed, we'll need the 3 sigils mentioned here to open it. They were last in the possession of the Abbey's 3 trade ministers that we know of. We should search their holdings.
We have to find them first.
Many of these bazaars had a directory to allow patrons to find goods and shops. We should see if we can find mention of the 3 trade ministers, Ralos, Quentin, or Esdir. That should give us an idea where each of them did business.
Who were the trade ministers?
Powerful merchant clergy who organized the trades of the Abbey's bazaar. They were the ones who led the Abbey to great prosperity before Gavos seized power.
If they successfully overthrew Gavos, why did this place sink into ruin?
A good question. Perhaps the cost of that victory was too high, or Gavos' desecration was too great for Zenithar to forgive. If anyone was to have kept records of what actually transpired, it would be the trade ministers.
Yep, let's go find them. But yeah. What I know about the Divines is that they're long dead. But I think a fraction of the power remains somewhere. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Because I don't know much about the Divines. But yeah, Gavos might still be alive. We'll have to kill him permanently this time. So there was something up here. Because I read the note, that tablet. So Relos, Northwestern Bazaar. SD is East Central Bazaar. Can't remember the third one's name.
The letters mentioned the 3 trade ministers. Now that we have the directory, it should lead us right to their holdings.
It should. Some dark magic happened here. Maybe the spell went awry when they trapped him. Gavos is finished. As I expected, his petty soldiers had a price. It didn't take much convincing for Quentin and SD to agree to it. We have enough gold between the 3 of us to buy them 5 times over. Now he's locked away with his precious anvil, and the rest of us can get back to turning some real profits without his constant interjection about what's fair. What would he know? We are the reason this bazaar thrives, not his moralizing, and not some trinket. The newly appointed arbiter visited today. He offhandedly suggested an increase in his weekly take, and implied wanting enough gold to plan a vacation under the setting sun. His choice of words seemed too deliberate. Does he know my secret hiding spot? Was I not careful as I thought? Whatever the case, we can afford to grease his palms more generously for now. But he may need to be replaced if he knows too much about my affairs. Ooh.
What? The soldiers were bribed? After all that talk about righteous rebellion, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Maybe the merchant lords weren't as good as we thought. They're hiding something. Oh yeah, there's the seal. It's the actual doorway. Seal of Zenithar. The Gavos is trapped in there. Wonder if he is alive or is dead. So yeah, the merchant lords are hiding something. Yeah, it seems like maybe the new arbiter was looking into merchant lords' misdeeds, which caused this place to fall into ruin. So yeah, this must be the Alchemist Shop. Or else the Quidditors must think I'm as much a fool as Gavos. I know what they're up to. With him out of the picture, they're expanding their stock. Forbidden magical relics, aggressive exotic beasts. They're trading anything and everything that they can get their greedy hands on. So they became just as greedy as Gavos in the end. Well, I won't have it said that they left old Esdir in the dust. I have a shipment of skooma coming in, and I'll make sure I'm the only one selling it in the entire abbey. People will tire of the trinkets and wild pets soon enough, but there will always be a market for skooma. Quentin has been talking about the anvil, saying he has a buyer lined up and we should retrieve it to sell. If it's truly worth the effort, he's likely to want it all for himself. I moved my sigil just to be safe to my favourite drinking spot, perched high above the busy streets.
Trade Minister Esdir trafficked in skooma. No wonder Zenithar abandoned them.
Yeah. Seems like greed got to them too in the end. Spiders! In that cage. A undead camel. So this must be the exotic menagerie. Long dead animals. I will have the anvil for you soon. Since everyone already believes it was stolen by Gavos, no one here will ever miss it. I only need to arrange some help from two of my fellow ministers. I've been a bit uncooperative lately, but I'm sure once I introduce them to the Minota bodyguard you provided, they will become far more agreeable. There cannot be any delay, however. If they suspect anything, they may not be able to secure the anvil for you. So please come to Zenithar Abbey as soon as you can. When you arrive, meet me behind the forging fires and I should have everything we need.
So they knew where Gavos had the anvil. They just wanted the opportunity to steal it for their own gain, instead of returning it to the people.
Yep. Came just as bad as Gavos in the end. Sadly. I'm gonna have to kill this. Good job, Bastion.
Courage brings victory.
That it does. Did you key?
There must have been little trust between the trade ministers for them all to have hidden their sigil keys from each other.
Yep. Greed got the better of them. So, I gotta go up there. How do I get up there? Here we go. I guess this is the drinking spot. One of them like to come to. The last one must be here. Oh, yep, the forge.
Oh, that's all 3 sigils. We can unseal the adytum. It will be within the Abbey's temple.
Okay. Should we do this though? I mean, if Gavos is still alive, I don't think we should...
There! That should be the Abbey's adytum.
I don't think we should set him free. Here we go. 3 keys.
It worked! The adytum is unsealed! Let's not waste another moment.
If you think... I guess he's long dead then?
Is that... No, this can't be the Golden Anvil, can it?
It was abandoned to the hardships of time, as I was. But the anvil's sparkle began to fade well before the Abbey's fall. I should have worked harder.
It can't be. Are you... Kavos Duar? It's been nearly... How are you alive? This is all too much. Talk to Gavos, please. I must attend to the Holy Relic.
So maybe the relic needed gold to keep it powered? But yeah, I can't believe he's still alive.
That must be Arbitrator Gavos. Who else could it be? But how? How could anyone survive imprisoned like this for so long? Could you speak with him? I feel faint.
Could be the relic?
It seems I've finally paid my penance to Zenithar for letting this glorious place crumble. Oh, so many years alone. But I never gave up.
How did you survive being imprisoned in here?
Honest toil. Zenithar provides to those who work, just as the seal kept out the war that raged between the trade ministers. The cracks let in the rain, and the roach, and the rays of the sun. These were my wages for care of the anvil, and prayer.
What happened to the Golden Anvil?
I barely recognize it myself. Pitted and corroded beyond repair. I did my best to preserve it, not nearly enough. Its glow began to fade as the Abbey became corrupted by avarice, opulence, and depravity. So, I hid it away before anyone took notice.
They claimed you stole it for yourself.
I know. I had no defense against their wealth and their poisoned words. The harder I fought to curb their ambitions, the more I became their common enemy. Once I was gone, though, they were free to fight among themselves. They tore this place apart.
So, you were never the problem, it was them all along. The more you know. I should discuss this with Daluan.
I can still feel Zenithar's presence here, however faint. All is not lost.
Sure?
For what it's worth, I believe Gavos speaks the truth. I can see great care has been taken for this anvil, in spite of the toll of years and the corruption of the Abbey. Zenithar has not fully abandoned this house.
So your quest was successful?
Almost. The Golden Anvil hangs on by a thread, thanks to Gavos' care. But it will fade completely if Zenithar's faith in us is not renewed. There is hope, both for the Anvil and, Zen willing, the Abbey.
How can we fix the Abbey? It's long gone. What do you mean?
Zenithar is the divine of honest work and just rewards. You have labored tirelessly on the behalf of his faithful. The first pure, unsullied toil this place has seen in ages. Let us dedicate our compact in the name of Zenithar, in his holy house.
Then that will restore the anvil?
No, only hard work can return the anvil in the Abbey to glory. But Zenithar may see that this place is worthy of redemption and renew his blessing upon them. Will you make this offering with me?
I guess I will.
Blessed Zenithar, I bring you this laborer whose calloused hands do your blessed work. Please, lay your hand upon the anvil.
Okay.
By these hands and this coin, an honest day's work is done in your name. May it be the first of many to come. Trade be.
Ooh.
The anvil! Zen's light shines brightly once more!
Trade be. My work here is finally done. Now, all I ask for in return is to see the open sky.
You have earned that much and more. I'll get the door for you.
Is he gonna make it? Well, technically, he can see the sky. I suppose he wants to see it without the walls around him. But yeah. It's restored. Kinda looks cool. But can you really repair the Abbey? After all it's been through? A lot of work. And if they can this time, hopefully they won't fall to their greed and corruption. And after all, Zenithar is all about toil and work and labor.
It's good to feel the sun through more than a crack in the roof. I could savor it for hours, but Zenithar would think me indolent.
So what was happening to the Golden Anvil?
It was just returning to what it once was. A simple source of labor for the blacksmith who founded the Abbey. Legend held that Zenithar's blessing transformed it. Well before my time. When I became arbitrator, it was already radiant, one of a kind.
So what caused it to fade?
I suspect as greed took hold of the bazaar, Zenithar lost his faith in us. I hid it away, so as not to cause panic, but I think that may have been my greatest mistake. He was trying to show his disapproval, and I silenced it. That was my crime.
Yeah, tell me about yourself.
Oh, I'm no one. I was the arbitrator of Zenithar's Abbey long, long ago. It was my duty to resolve disputes and ensure the safety of the bazaar. I failed, and so this place lies in ruin. But if others wish to learn from my mistakes, I'll oblige.
These mistakes are made all around. So, why blame yourself? The trade ministers caused all this.
There were good people here. I was the one who was supposed to protect them from the unscrupulous few. But I wasn't wise enough to outwit them. If I'd had more to offer than platitudes, perhaps the others would have stood by me. Only Zenithar knows.
What's done is done. Can't change the past.
You have been a great boon to the resolutions of Zenithar. I could not have found the Golden Anvil without you, let alone save it from its ignominious fate.
And we all make mistakes in our lives. And you just have to live with them. So what happens now?
I'll inform my order, and through our efforts, perhaps they'll be able to restore this abbey to glory. Regardless, Zenithar leaves no debts, and you more than earned your due. Take this blessed coin with all my thanks.
Thanks, and I get a full scale Golden Anvil replica. Thanks.
Even now, Zenithar is teaching me. I came seeking his blessings of wealth, and instead I find a life he spared from the sickness of greed. The true divine wealth we discovered here is that old man, I'm certain.
Yeah, I still want to know how he's alive. So, what makes you say that?
I didn't seek out the Golden Anvil for its material worth. I was in search of something touched by the divine. To have endured so long in that tiny prison, he must truly have communed with Zenithar during his captivity.
You think it's a miracle that he's alive? An actual miracle?
What else would you call it? He stayed true to the teachings and carried the resolve of Zenithar in his heart to endure, even as everything around him crumbled to dust. Faith like that is worth far more than gold. We can learn much from Gavos.
Maybe it was the power in the fading relic that kept him alive? Or some other coincidence? You make him sound like a saint.
If the primate agrees, he might very well become one. Miracles aside, Arbitrator Gavos is a wealth of knowledge long thought lost, and he has witnessed firsthand how even a holy temple of Zenithar can become corrupted by avarice. Lessons to remember.
Fair point.
Without you, the Abbey's downfall would remain a cautionary tale with all the wrong lessons, and poor Gavos its villain. Zenithar shone a light on the truth through you, laborer. Your works honor us both. I'd like you to accompany me to the resolutions of Zenithar, Gavos. Your story is one we should all hear.
If this old man still has use left in him, it's Zenithar's to command.
Yep, it's the merchant lords all along that were the bad guys. Interesting quest. I thought it was Gavos that was the villain, when in fact it was the merchant lords all along. But yeah, that abbey was something to see. Hopefully they can bring it back to pristine condition. So yeah, I'm going to end this one here. We'll continue questing in the next one. Thanks for watching.